Hey, what's up, guys? Earlier I posted a little video about survival tips, and I was talking about making charred organic materials. People were saying, hey, make a video on that. I'm in a spot where I can't make a big fire to show you guys how to do that, at least today. But I was walking along and stumbled across an old pine stump. And when I took my hatchet into it, as you can see how it looks kind of wet. It's because it's so full of those awesome resins. Where's it at on this one? Right here where I took that hatchet to it. So as you can see, it's got a lot of resins in that. And that's what we call fat wood, okay? So a lot of times people get confused about fat wood and think it's a certain type of wood. They think the same thing about lighter knot, or they think it's like a species of lighter knot pine. And what lighter knot is, or what fat wood is simply that evergreen that's been soaked in its own resin, okay? So when an evergreen tree dies, that vascular system also dies, right? So there's no evapotranspirational pull gradient to keep pulling that sap up. I know it's a big word, but imagine this. The sap doesn't flow up anymore, so it starts sinking back down. So your heaviest spots of resin are always going to be at the base of that tree or at the base of a branch going into the trunk. A lot of times when I come across a big oak tree this big around, I'm not going to cut that sucker down with my hatchet. Now, I did go out today and cut some down with my buddy Mike, who needed some manpower on it, and I got a bunch of good fat wood that he gave me. That way I can give away some to the kids. But it's always full of that nice resin, okay? Now, that's what helps me start a fire. So I'm gonna teach you guys a little bit about that. And I wanna do this to where I don't have to rush it in 60 seconds. So if you got time to chill with me, then chill with me. If not, I understand. So I took a tin out of my pack, right? Here's the lid. I actually just took a Scottish eye, is what these are called. This is awesome. So I have a little piece of wood that goes through here, and this allows me to drill holes when I'm out in nature without the use of machines. Because in a survival situation, you may not have gasoline and all that stuff for chainsaws and all of our fancy equipment that we use today. And I kind of admire how things used to be done. I always have. So if there's a way to go old school about it, I usually pick that way. But I happen to have this Scottish eye in my pack, right? And I wanted to put a hole into this tin. You guys can see that. So now I have an escape route for that. Now I wanted to put it down on the ground, obviously, when I poked that hole in. Why? Because if I did it like that or attached to the box, it would cave in the little tin box, and we don't want that. So a little common sense sometimes goes a long ways when you're out in the woods. The reason why I want this hole is so I have a place for the gases to escape, okay? Now you're gonna know what I'm talking about here in just a second. So, put this on my lap. As a part of this fat wood right here is also some real corky stuff. As you can see, it's really corky, that cork wood, now it's slipping me the name, cobweb, sometimes people call it, but there's all different kinds of names for it, just like it is the fat wood. But our cork woods here, they work really good for just putting in a tin, and I'm gonna turn that into char. I'm gonna talk you guys through it because I'm not actually gonna turn it into char right here. But I grabbed this piece for its fat wood content, right? But I can utilize every single piece of this chunk of wood that I took the time to cut. Because everything in nature has a purpose, right? I'm gonna take my hatchet a little bit and work it in there. Just trying to free up some of that nice corky wood there. I don't want dirt. Awesome. So, that's just one little example of a type of wood that you can use. A lot of times when you're looking for fat wood, for example, guys, it's gonna be a standing dead pine tree, okay? Now, upon first arrival, it's going to look like just a piece of rotten chunk of wood, you know, but the fat wood's inside and that core towards the bottom. Now, just because that other stuff is rotten doesn't mean it's not useful. That's that cork wood that I'm talking about. I got a mosquito singing in my ear. Shouldn't have killed that bear, huh? But that nice corky wood, that's the stuff that you can put in there. That spongy kind of wood, okay? So now once I have this on, I get me a fire made and I put on the lid and I set this on the coals, okay? Now that's gonna carbonize this material. Even if I wanted to use pieces of my own shirt, let's say if I'm in a real survival situation and I'm in the desert or some say like that, I could take a part of my sleeve, choose to cut that off if I had another long sleeve shirt to protect me from the sun, of course. But I could use that and then char it in this tin can. And then I could just simply take the magnifying glass off my compass and start a fire in about 5 seconds. You know, so this is great for those who use a ferro rod too, which is one of these little guys. So when you put this on your fire, I wish I could show you right here, but I'm on public land right now and I don't want to take advantage of who I am, because I could start a fire and get away with it out here, but that also encourages other people to do that, and no. Some places I actually do have special permission, but I always try to make sure I'm so far off the trail that I'm not going to be influencing other people to do that same thing, just because I might have some permission. So when you see this, there's going to be smoke starting to bellow out that hole, okay? Now, that's all the different, now the words are slipping me, all the different moistures, you know, and gases that are trapped in that wood, okay? So when all those moistures and all those gases escape from here, it'll stop smoking. That's when you can open this up and everything's gonna be purely charred. And then I could simply just hold that up to a magnifying glass and get a coal and put that in my bird's nest. When I say bird's nest, I'm talking about the monkey hair, yo. We get this nice, awesome monkey hair off of our palmettos down here. The cabbage palm is one of my favorite to do this. So when I talk about making a nest, I'm gonna take that very fine material in first, and then I'm gonna encase that with that rougher material. And I'm basically just wanting to form what looks like a bird's nest, like that. So then I could sit there and have this right here. Here's another piece of that fat wood, guys. This is just a piece of pine that is very, very heavy in those oils, thanks to a good old cowboy named Brad up in Okeechobee that hooked me up with this. But as far as putting the shavings in, guys, take your knife, take it to the back side. Find you a high edge on there, and just keep rubbing back and forth. You see what that's doing there? Yeah, I'm putting that inside of my bird's nest, right? Just keep going and going and going. I'm putting down quite a bit of force on this, but that's okay. It's better to use a fixed knife and not a pocket knife like I'm using on a situation like this. But this is a pretty sturdy old girl right here, so it'll do the trick. Now what this is gonna do is add that oil from that sap into my bird's nest, okay? That's gonna make it where it burns really, really good. It's gonna make it where it burns like a candle. Now I'm actually gonna lift some of this out because I don't wanna, just because I'm doing an educational video and I have some permission where I'm at to do this, I don't want anyone else to see smoke. You know, because some neighbor down the road may not know that Captain Planet's out here making a fire. Or like this cool guy that's walking right by me. What's up, homie? Hey, how's it going? Teaching everybody a little bit of bushcraft. Saying how I didn't want to make a lot of smoke when I did this. How's your evening going, brother?
Good, how's yours going?
It's going awesome. More than welcome to sit here and learn how to make fire with me if you want.
Well, I've done enough of them.
Yeah, right? It's fun stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
Trying to teach these kids that are all on these screens how to live a little bit, right?
There you go.
Yep. Have a good one, brother.
If you can do that, you can walk while I'm doing it.
Hey, right. There you go. All right, guys, so check this out. Now I've got my ferro rod, my knife, my fat wood, and my bird's nest of monkey hair, okay? Now, you can do this one of two ways, all right? There's the push and the pull, you know? That's life in a nutshell. So I can put this ferro rod down, and I can sit there and push the knife into something like that, or I can put the knife and keep that still and pull back. And honestly, I'm kind of a fan of the pull and back motion like this. Now, a lot of times, if you don't have a sharp back edge of that knife, like a 90-degree angle, it's not gonna work on a rounder edge. So have yourself another tool ready. Push or pull. I'm gonna do this one to make it pull a little bit there. Make sure you guys can see this real quick. I'm gonna put it out shortly after I start it. So this is where I want my fire. Put it down right here. Put the ferro rod, and I pull. And that is how easy it is to make a fire. Just want to say thanks to all the people who took some time to teach me how to do these things. Because without them, I sure as heck wouldn't be able to teach you guys. Pretty cool, huh? That monkey hair would have already went out, okay? What you're seeing burning right there in that hot flame, that's that fat wood. So I could put a piece on there. That's good resin right there. And I could literally probably just light that on fire with a candle if I didn't run out in time. Which looks like I just ran out of time. You can always use your Bic lighter too. See all those oils coming out? It's pretty cool. Thanks for hanging in there for a whole 12 minutes, guys. I'm proud of you. See ya.